What's happening, YouTube? It's D. Lee here with you with another episode of the Silks Podcast, and this is episode number 4. And today I am joined by a good friend of mine, and a lot of you may know her from her past time working here at the Silks, Elyse Howard. Elyse, how are you?
I am phenomenal, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you can join us today.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
So you haven't been here in a while. What have you been up to?
I have not been here in a while. The room still looks the same, though.
Yeah, it's the same people, the same action. Just, today's racing day, so it's a little bit busier than most. But did you find a good parking spot?
I did find a good parking spot. That's the one thing of the benefit of working here previously. I know the secrets.
Well, that's good. So I want to get into this conversation. I want to start with you with how did you get into massaging?
How did I get into massaging from day one, huh? So I guess you could say it was my calling, and I had no idea until I was 20.
What was that, like last year?
You're so nice. Like 11 years ago. So I was that family member that if somebody had a sore back, sore feet, sore shoulders, I massaged them. Obviously, I was a kid and I didn't know what I was doing, but I had strong hands because I was a tomboy, always playing outside. I guess that's kind of what I chalk it up to. It was just something that I did naturally. So I'd say around 19, I was kind of having a life crisis. I was like, what am I going to do with myself? I was working, but I wasn't satisfied, and schooling wasn't satisfactory that I was doing. So me and a couple friends took a vacation down to Florida, and when I went down, I wanted to change. So I noticed the weather, right? We have great weather.
It's nice weather, except for today, but yeah.
Except for today. But I noticed it was raining on one side of the street and not raining on the other. So I was like, I must move here, and I have to live in this location because that's insane. So I decided to make a move. 4 months later, I moved down to Florida. Then I had went into a program for massage, but I just went for pretty much the consultation, I guess you could say, for the schooling of it. And have you ever had the epiphany of like, this is it?
I have.
Have you?
And that's the kind of feeling you had with this?
Yes. So when I was in the school, I was looking at where the labs would happen, looking at where a lecture would happen, and and I was just that person that I always wanted to know what was on the inside. I wanted to know what was inside the body, how it worked, how it functioned. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now, backtrack a little bit. We might not have enough time to go into the full detail. However, backtrack. My mother was pretty much disabled for my entire life. Was able to move and get around and, take care of herself. Just physically disabled as in she had median nerve damage. So what that means is you would lose completely loss of her right arm. Couldn't pick things up, had a lot of issues, had a bad car accident in 82 that she was told she'd never be able to walk again from doctors. And obviously after that she had children and was walking. So I learned from an early age that just because you're told you cannot do something doesn't mean that you cannot do it. So watching her in pain pretty much my entire childhood. Doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, pain rehab after pain rehab, medication after medication. I saw no improvements. I saw no results. And I didn't see anyone helping her besides writing a script. And I just didn't understand why it seemed to be so difficult for her to have relief. And rewind even further back, say 9 years old, I had bulged a couple discs. I was heavy set when I was younger, So the excess weight had issues, and being a tomboy, jumping off of roofs didn't help. So I was introduced into like physical therapy and obviously medications. And I was a 9-year-old child, and they were putting me on Flexeril, which is a muscle relaxer, Scalaxin, anti-inflammatories, but I mean high dosage drugs that I don't think should be given to children of that age, and especially before rehab was attempted, before physical therapy was attempted. But because I had been watching my mom in pain pretty much my whole life, it was programmed in my mind that nothing could help, because everywhere she went, nothing helped her. So then obviously the doctor's like, okay, then, here's more medication. And I didn't like the way that the medication felt. I didn't like the way that I felt when I was on it. Couldn't think very clearly. And so at that time I was like, well, if this is the only option that they're giving, what else can I do? And stopped all medications at 10 and really got into physical therapy because I was attending it 3 times a week. So 2 bulging discs later, I realized that physical therapy was a better route than medications, just because you're teaching yourself longer lasting lifestyle habits instead of a Band-Aid to cover up something that's a problem and or pain, whether it be chronic or acute. So I guess you could say that I saw from an early age how detrimental painkillers were, how negatively effective medications were being taken on a consistent basis. My mother passed away 9 years ago from lung cancer. However, she was on 14 different medications. And there was 1 tumor on her lung and 5 on her liver. And your liver is your, how should I say, what cleanses your body. So it's your filter, right? So if you're putting medications, foods, drugs, whatever you'd like to call it, into your body, your liver is cleaning it out. So with all of the tumors on her liver, I was like, wow, it must have really been detrimental taking all those medications. So massage has been pretty much a lifelong lesson, goal, and learning, just because I literally went through it as a child. In 2013, I had 7 disc herniations that I completely rehabbed myself. So a second injury on top of that. And overall, I watched my mom in pain for decades. So I just wanted to find a way to educate people that medication isn't the only route. And I knew that getting into massage, especially medical massage, because it is more respected and there's a scientific backing to it, that I could make a difference in a lot of people's lives, or a lot of children don't have to watch their parents suffering, or husbands and wives don't have to watch their significant others suffering, because pain is prevalent in our society. Mental stress is prevalent in our society. Overwork, overstressed is emotionally and physically damaging to our bodies. So if we don't find ways to improve our day-to-day, if we don't find ways to make a lifestyle instead of a fad, then we're just going to keep going on the hamster wheel. So I guess you could say why massage is really, my ultimate goal is to change how healthcare is viewed, so that CAM therapies, which are complementary alternative medicines, massage therapy, Chinese herbalism, acupuncture, physical therapy, color therapies, medical massages, all of that should be taken heed on a day-to-day basis, instead of muscle relaxers, corticosteroid injections that they don't tell you that if you have more than 2 you're promoting early degeneration for those tissues, for those ligaments, and for those discs. So there's just a lot of education that people don't know about because it's not talked about. And I just really wanted to raise awareness and allow people to know that they have a choice.
Oh, I'm awake. Sorry. You know what's funny is, so when you started working here,
Are you trying to say that put you to sleep?
No,
Daniel?
no. I'm awake.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that I know someone like you because you've taught me a lot about like not just like the massaging, but like the body as like a whole, what you need for health benefits, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's very good to have someone like you around that knows a lot about this stuff, and you inspired me with like the way that you live your life, and always like being healthy and whatnot. So I'm glad that you can teach me some of the stuff that I don't know. Proprioceptors.
Nice. Proprioceptors.
I had no idea what that word meant, and then one day we were just talking, and Elyse just like laid it on me, and I just I was just like a new man. That's when I started like learning new stuff. So
I'm going to go a little bit into proprioceptors since Daniel used this word, right? So we were getting into it because Daniel saw me stretching someone at a table. And our bodies are always trying to protect itself, right?
Right.
So if there was an injury or a trauma or, a fast kind of traumatic that happened to a limb or body part, muscles obviously, then the body goes into fight or flight, and your nervous system is trying to protect it. So the muscles tighten up to protect the joints and the spinal cord, obviously. However, proprioceptors are they measure your pain, and they allow the muscles to release or relax. So with PNF, which is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which is a 3-point stretch, you stretch it, resist, relax, you can actually reset your nervous system and allow your body to communicate with your nervous system that says, hey, there is no injury here. You can relax and elongate the tissue. All yours, Daniel.
So you've been massaging for a long time now. Where did you work before you came to the Silks?
Okay, yeah. So I have been massaging for 11 years. And I worked at an injury center doing auto accident rehabilitation.
Okay.
Now, we had in-house chiropractor, we had neurologist, we had osteopath. So I was lucky enough to have all of those amazing brains to pick, to work under, and to collaborate with for the 4 years that I was there. And we did auto accident rehabilitation, slip and falls, rehabilitation, and it was mainly delegated as medical massage. And I was the head trainer of those facilities, and I just loved the integrative sources of massage therapy, physical therapy, which are exercises in a rehabilitative form, because a lot of people think that exercise is the same as rehabilitation, and it's not. You get and graduate to exercise by starting in rehabilitation if there are injuries. So it's a process. But at the injury center, oh my God, I'd see anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 patients in a day. And that's finding where their injuries are, relaxing their tissues enough, communicating with them to find what modalities need to be integrated, whether it be the physical therapy, the ice, the heat, the stim, massage, and the chiropractic. And usually everything integrated together is the benefit. So that is your long-winded response to where I was before Silks.
And obviously, so working with people that have been in auto accidents and stuff like that, it's probably a little different than working with just like kind of tense, relaxed poker players, would you say?
So, yes and no. Yes, there is a difference because people are coming in aware that they're going to get therapeutic treatment. No, because people say when players are coming in, just because they haven't been in a motor vehicle accident, an MVA, or a slip and fall, doesn't mean that their body hasn't received trauma.
Right.
So repetitive stress injuries, anything, and don't forget, mental stress is huge with tension. And Danny, as you being a player, the mental stress of poker is a little intense.
So you could you could probably like tell if I'm like in a hand, like if I was in a hand or something and I have a decision to make, could you tell while massaging me if I was tense or not?
Oh yeah. Yeah, your tissues tell on you. Tissues always tell. That's one of my favorite things about being a massage therapist is...
Tissues always tell. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Tissues
I like it.
always tell. And that's the beauty of being able to connect with the body and connect with the person instead of, I'm a massage therapist, I'm going to rub the lotion on the skin, I'm going to do the techniques, and then we're done. Connecting with the person, figuring out what they do on a regular basis, day-to-day basis, their actions, their thought processes allows me to kind of put a treatment together for them where it's specifically designed for them and it's not a cookie cutter type. But I'm getting off the point. Okay, we're going to reel it back in as to the difference of the center and
the poker room.
Poker room. Either or, there's a lot of stress. Right. So pretty much the only difference is when people come into a poker room, they just want to play cards. They're not really looking for a therapeutic experience or a rehabilitative experience.
How did you even find out about the silks?
Oh my gosh. So one of my girlfriends, I was bartending overnights and I really didn't want to bartend anymore. I didn't want to be in that environment. I needed a change. I was, every 3 years I kind of reevaluate my life, look at where I'm at and see where the next level I can go. And we all know that transitions are difficult. Usually when you make a transition, money gets a little funny for a little while. You got to rebuild. Then you have to go and retransition into another part of your life. And obviously have enough faith in yourself towards you're going to make it happen. But I didn't want to be bartending any longer. And my girlfriend was like, well, why don't you go up to Tampa Bay Downs? And I was like, what is that? And she was like, it's a poker room and it's a horse track. And I was like, well, I don't massage in poker rooms. She was like, well, they have them. She was like, I was just up there and I saw it. And they said that they were hiring massage therapists. So I took a whim. I found the ad. I contacted the hiring party, which was Amenity Pro. Came in for the interview. And it was definitely a culture shock. It was definitely not something that I had been used to, considering I come from a clinic setting and my main specialty is medical massage and rehabilitation. So you go from an isolated one-on-one to a full room of tension, stress, high energy, and alcohol, and you've got some interesting changes. But going through the interview process, I had seen that you pretty much just walk around, say massage, and whoever wants it gets it. So I took the position, and it was fun while I was here.
So I'm actually glad you brought that up. Walking around, offering massages, asking who wants it, and who wants it. If they don't, they don't.
Right.
What I've noticed about you in the past is that you're very, what's the term? You're more outgoing than I guess most, not just massage therapists, but just most people. Persistence. So I guess what I'm getting at is that why were you so much, I guess, better as far as getting clientele and getting customers, players, as opposed to other massage therapists? Like in this poker room in general, I guess I would say.
In the poker room in general. Why?
You said persistence.
Right. So in anything in life, if you want good results, persistence, consistency, and humility are key to me. So obviously you have to have a strong mentality, because here in a poker community, what I noticed was people like their routine. It's very, sit at this table or sit at this chair or play at this table and have the same server and have the same drink or beverage, or everything is very routine and habitual. So when a new therapist comes in, it's obviously not very welcoming. So you kind of have to have that mentality of, okay, it's not me, it's that they're ignorant to the benefits that I can bring, and it's my duty, my job to educate them on how I can help them. Not take it personally and be emotional like it's rejection. So yes, I was the annoying massage therapist when I first started, because I would ask every single table, every single person for massage, and constantly get ignored, but I just kept moving, and I kept moving, and I kept moving. And once I got more comfortable with it, you know, find the rules to the room, see where my leeway is, you know, obviously not interrupting the poker etiquette and being disruptive, then I noticed that you have to have tenacity and persistence, because people will try you eventually, but you have to have the persistence.
Which you did.
Right. Business-wise, I'm a logical thinker. Obviously, women as a whole are more emotional. And when you're in the practice that I'm in, your emotions do get the best of you, because you care about your clients, you care about your patients, you care. But when it comes to business, you have to be logical. So I always face it as, I'm here to provide a service. So it's my job to provide the best to each and every person that I'm taking care of. It's not, I noticed a lot of girls would have stories of, oh, well, they told me to do it harder, or they told me to do this instead of that. And it's our job to either do exactly what they want or explain why it's not going to be beneficial for us to do it that specific way. So what would make me different is communication is key.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Persistence and tenacity is the number one. You cannot take it personal, and you have to know your craft. You have to know that you know what you're talking about. You have to know that they need what you're providing. And to me, I provide a service. So it's not that they're lucky that I'm working on them. It's I'm lucky that I get to educate them on something that may be able to change their life. So I view it completely differently. And I don't like to waste time or money. So I think that the better that I communicate with the people, the more that they communicate with me, the more consistent I am, the better communication that I keep, and the less I put myself first, it goes noticed. So I think that maybe is what separates the two as far as this room goes.
So the $1 million question we all want to know, why did you leave?
Why? So
Because we miss you here. I mean, I do, at least I do for sure.
Thanks, Daniel.
I literally don't remember the last time I got a massage in this poker room or outside of the poker room from anybody but you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your loyalty. I loved being here. I loved the people. Obviously, the environment is not something that's my favorite, because energy is very big with what I do, and it can be very draining. But I had a multitude of things that was happening at that time. Plus, if you kind of remember what I was saying earlier, every 3 years I like to check in with my life and see how I can upgrade, see what I can do to take myself to the next level. And it was getting on that time, and it was past that time, actually, because I'm pretty sure I was here for almost 4 years. And coming into the room, the energy was different, but not only was the energy different, the energy was different because it was time for me to have a change. And subconsciously, I knew it, but consciously, I wasn't ready to attack it. Now, obviously, I wanted my own practice. I wanted my own center, wellness center, as you will, to have all those integrated modalities. And I would like to say a month or two before I left the Downs, another opportunity had fallen into my lap to where I could travel and get paid for it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm looking for another change. Let's try this. I want to open my own center, and I really have to take my time into consideration and maximize on what I'm doing. So I had to make the decision because I needed my nights. Obviously, you can't do a lot of things massage-wise overnight, so that was going to be a loss of income. But to make the transition, I had to make the decision to stay consistent and be able to make the transition. So it was time for me to make a change. I had another opportunity available to me that would be able to allow me to do what I love to do, work from anywhere at any time, at any place, make a residual income with that, and then put that towards my wellness center while I was doing it. So it was time for a change.
And what, you left like 4 years ago? 5 years ago, maybe?
I don't think it was 5 years ago. I think it was about 4 because it was in October. This year will be 5. This
Okay.
October will be 5 years.
And so since you left, we haven't really kept in touch until recently. I'm sure you've been very busy. I've been very busy with this podcast and whatnot.
Sure, Daniel.
So, what have you been up to since you've left the Silks?
Since I left the Silks.
I mean, I know you're still massaging, and a month ago, I went to your new center. The what is it, Massage Nerd?
Massage Nerd.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, tell me, Daniel, how was your experience?
I mean, it's always great with you. You're always on your A game.
Thank you.
I remember you gave me a little tour of the massage center, and I guess what I'll say is like the decor and like the overall look of the room that screams and defines Elyse. Like I don't know any other way to describe it.
I was just about to say, you got to give me some descriptions here. Screams Elyse. Is this a good thing?
It's absolutely.
This a bad thing?
It's absolutely a good thing.
Is this an over the top thing?
No, it's absolutely like. So when I got the massage from you, you showed me the little room. I liked all like the lighting, like the different color lights. I thought that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Your little
color
therapy.
Okay.
And your like entrance, your little bathroom there. I don't know. It was very like the whole room was very comfy. It didn't feel like you were in like a center or like a massage studio. It felt very like homey and very like relaxed, which I think in a massage center that's what you need to be. I mean, you're getting massage, so to be relaxed before you get the actual massage. I mean, it made me feel a lot more comfortable for sure.
That's phenomenal feedback because that is exactly what I was going for. So thank you for that. And you're going to have to re-ask me the question because I forgot.
Just tell us a little bit about Massage Nerd, your new center that you opened up.
Oh, yes! So, well, that is what I did in between the time. Sorry, I'm getting off kilter. So, within the 4 years that I've been gone, Massage Nerd Integrative Health has come about. We opened our doors about 8 weeks ago. Now it's by appointment only. The ribbon cutting has not happened yet.
Still waiting for my invitation.
Still waiting, but it is coming. Just getting all of the employees down, getting the staff down. You only get one, so I really just want to make sure it makes an impact on the community as well as everyone that's going to be able to make it. So to get back onto Massage Nerd, obviously my passion for massage comes from, a mark of the heart. So finding a way to integrate medical massage, which is more of a Western therapy, westernized therapy. It's still complementary medicine, but it's still not respected as like you going to see a doctor.
Right.
It's not under that same beaten path. And also Chinese herbalism, Chinese medicine, Eastern theory medicine. Usually you don't find those two things blended together because it's one or the other. And I think that's why we fall short with our medical field is it's always one or the other. And I wanted to find a way to integrate those and have a community of physicians, physical therapists, acupuncturists, neurologists that are Eastern and Western, that are westernized and homeopathic and have a community together. So that is where Massage Nerd came about. That's what I'm working with right now. We have a physical therapist that we refer out to, a neuro acupuncturist that we refer out to, Sierra Nank, who is a Chinese medicine herbalist that is in-house, who is phenomenal. Her specialties range from mental health, which goes from depression, schizophrenia, social anxiety disorders, a lot of these day-to-day mental health issues that people just don't understand and that we're told to not talk about. But we have her in-house, and of course the massage therapy, the medical massage therapy, the micropoint current stimulation device, which integrates Eastern acupuncture and Western neurology. So all of that makes Massage Nerd, because each person needs something different and specific to their ailment or to their issue. Not everybody has pain, but everybody has repetitive stress injuries. Not everybody has mental stress that they know of until they get to talk to an herbalist for a 90-minute session and go over things that happen day to day, and heart palpitations that they can't explain, body temperature changes that they can't explain, mood swings that they can't explain. So it's just taking our everyday, day-to-day lives, chopping it up, putting it underneath the microscope, and being able to transform yourself to your best self, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
So, I mean, I know you're working a lot. You're always busy.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I call you, you'll call me like a week later to get back to my initial call.
I'm not that bad, Daniel.
Which is fine. You know, I understand you're busy. I mean, we're all busy. I think you and I are both at that point of our lives where, you know, we just got a lot going on.
Right.
So when you don't work,
Okay.
obviously you like to stay.
When is that?
Exactly. Obviously you like to stay in shape. You like to do a lot of, you know, strenuous physical activity.
Okay.
6 months ago, we went skydiving.
Yes,
You and I and a couple other people went skydiving, and I'll tell you what, if you guys have never done it, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bitch when it comes to like stuff like that. However, when you're in that plane,
Daniel did it like a trooper.
when you're in that plane, you know, 20,000 feet in the air, and you're looking down, like,
Oh, yes.
you're like, the only way down is to jump, you know, and I think you are, I guess, the main inspiration as to why I did it. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about our experiences, or the experience that we had skydiving, and how that even like became like, how we even like did it.
How we even did the skydiving, or how
Yeah, like
it came
I
about?
get how that even came about, and
'Cause,
how.
I mean, we jumped out of a plane. That's
Well,
how we
yeah, I
did
know
the
that. Like,
skydiving,
how did you even convince me to do it? Like, where did this idea come from?
So,
Because I guarantee you, if you ask any of my friends or the people that know me,
Yeah.
if you told them that I went skydiving, they would think that you're out of your mind.
that's why we took pictures to prove it. So I came up to the Downs one night. What was I up here for? Oh, somebody had called and there was some pain, so I came up to do an MPS, quick little treatment on somebody. And I had a friend that wanted to go skydiving for their 40th birthday. And we were talking about it. We're like, oh, you know, we're going to do the skydive. Bailey, who is a cocktail?
Mhm.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Cocktail waitress here. She was like, you know, if you go skydiving, I'm in. You know, don't forget to mention it. And I was like, there's no if. We're good. We're doing it. It's just a matter of if you're going to do it or not as well. And I think she had come to you. She was like, oh, Dan, you're going to go skydiving. And you were like, no. And of course I butt in. I was like, oh, we're allowed to cuss?
Yeah, go ahead.
Little Daniel won't go skydiving. And he's like, I'll do it. I'll go skydiving. And I was like, sure, let's see it.
I didn't
So now-
even believe myself when I said it.
Right,
either.
exactly. No, none of us did. However, a few weeks go by, I'm preparing for it. We're getting the Groupons ready. We're going to skydiving. We're making the reservations, and Daniel's in. Daniel was the first one out of the 9 that jumped to get his ticket. So, obviously, Daniel wanted to do it more than he realized. However, skydiving, I like to push myself past limitations, right? Because we all have these limitations in our mind, and we have these drawbacks in life. So to me, if I'm a control freak and I'm terrified of heights, let's beat that. Let's see if we can trick our brains, do something different. And usually when you push yourself past limitations, whether it be for something physical, mental, or emotional, you prevail as a person intellectually. And when that happens, you get better in other areas of life. So when I push myself past certain points, I find that my businesses elevate, that my conversations are elevated, and the people that I'm around are just a better quality of people because I'm pushing myself past limitations and past fears, right? So with you doing it, now I'm going to ask you a question, Daniel.
Oh, boy.
With you jumping out of the plane, right? Because it was freaking terrifying, right? A little scary. Did you know, like what I just said, that it pushes you past limitations, that it makes you do better in other areas of life? Would you say that doing that, you've changed after it?
Oh, for
or was
sure.
The same?
I definitely have changed. So before we had done that, I was kind of slowly going through like a transition of like, getting in shape, exercising, just kind of changing my lifestyle. Like, you got to remember, like, I played poker all day, every day. I'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, play till 4 o'clock at night, and that's literally all I'd do. That was my entire life. Never worked out any time in between.
Stagnant.
It was just, eat, sleep, and breathe poker. And then, I don't know what it was, just like you said, an epiphany, like, hit me, like, I need to change my ways. And obviously doing something obviously doing something like skydiving, and you know me pretty well, is something that I would never like even consider doing. I'm so like kind of sheltered to this poker room and just kind of playing poker and going home and living
the habitual lifestyle.
Exactly, the routine, which you said is a lot of poker players, that's how they live. So
the comfort zone.
So I'm not gonna lie, when you and Bailey were sitting there making fun of me, kind of questioning my manhood, I kind of had to step it up and just show you guys that I'm not this bitch. And I will say it was an experience I would definitely do again. It was awesome. It was scary, obviously, and the funny thing is the scariest part isn't even jumping. If you ask me, the scariest part to me was when you're sitting like with your feet hanging off the plane 15,000 feet in the air, and you don't know when they're going to push you off. Like, it's just kind of like, we're going to hang out for a boom. And then you're in there and you're like, oh my God. So I would definitely say because of that, as you can see, I've changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
I'm getting in shape. My mind's
Looking
a lot
good,
better.
Daniel.
Thank you. My mind's a lot better, in a better place. And I have like a normal life. I'm waking up at a decent hour. I'm going to sleep at a decent hour.
Right.
I'm eating better. So I think that experience alone definitely, helped me improve as like a person, for sure.
Right, and it reflects in every other aspect of your life.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Very cool.
So that's something that I think you and I would definitely do again. If not, maybe something even crazier. Who knows?
We should definitely do it again, just in a different country.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you tell these people about the crazy idea that you have about... Hey, okay, first of all, skydiving is one thing, but skydiving without a parachute, which is like, exactly, it's ridiculous to even consider.
Well...
Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about skydiving without a parachute?
So what I will say first and foremost...
This is crazy.
...is skydiving is one of the safest extreme sports. However, skydiving without a parachute is illegal in the United States. But it is legal for us adrenaline junkies in Australia. So...
So you have to fly to the other side of the country to
jump out of a plane
of the
with
world,
no
actually.
parachute. No parachute. But you have two jumpers that do have parachutes. So you jump out of the plane. There is a net that's like 400 yards, I want to say. That's kind of... And it's on the bottom to catch you. But you have two jumpers that have parachutes. And they come and one gets on one arm and one gets on the other. So you have a good 2-minute free fall. And to me, the free fall is the euphoria. The free fall is just where you're like, that moment past the fear where the bliss comes in and you're like, oh my God, I was worried for what? This is euphoric. This is amazing. However, they're holding you with the parachutes. They get their parachutes open and it slows you down. Then they drop you, and you're caught in the net for parachute-less skydiving.
This sounds appealing to you?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Before I did the skydiving, it did not. But after I experienced it, it's like a must. Because travel is a big part of, me now with my other business, but it's like, I gotta do it now. It's just another level. It's just another level.
Another level without a parachute.
Another level without a parachute.
You know, might need to dig into this a little bit more before I
There's
commit
worse
myself.
things that we could try.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
We live in Florida and we drive on I-4 and 275 every single day.
Maybe you do.
I do. It's like the riskiest highway to drive on. Look it up. So I'm pretty sure, a one-time parachuteless jump can't hurt. And you just described how you elevated in life and how happy you are of the person that you have grown becoming and are becoming, because you're not going to stop, right? So can you imagine where that would push you to by doing something that freaking terrifying?
If I survive.
You will survive. If not, it's just in the cards and you'll die a legend. Great.
So there's one more thing I want to go over with you, Elyse. So you started your business, Massage Nerd, and I see that you do a lot on social media. Instagram, Facebook, whatever else they got out there. And with me, I'm trying to start this with YouTube, Instagram as well.
Okay.
As a business professional on social media, it's obviously very important. What kind of tips and advice could you give me to help promote this podcast and essentially, ultimately in the long run, help this room?
Hashtags, consistency, content, overabundance of content. Don't overthink it. I'm that person that is a perfectionist, and when I first started getting involved more with social media, it's like, oh, this picture has to be perfect, this wording has to be perfect, this has to be perfect. Especially, I watch a lot of Gary Vee, I listen to a lot of audios, I pay for a lot of self-development seminars. I would definitely say it's a lot of content. Don't overthink it. Put things that are going to make people feel relatable. We all have issues. Everybody on social media puts this persona that life is perfect and everything is perfect. Well, it's not. But business-wise, you can relate to shortcomings, downfalls, just by making it relatable. And when people relate, people are going to share it and want to see more of it. But with social media, hashtags are obviously huge. So you want to see what's trending with hashtags. You want to see what is big with right now and today. Because what was big yesterday doesn't mean jack for today. So content, over-deliver. Over-deliver. However, make sure, I'm not saying to not have good content, but what you're putting out, say on story-wise, keep it consistent, and then what your actual posts are going to be, have that good detail to where you're not just posting something and putting a couple of hashtags and there's some type of curiosity. You're putting something of substance and content into that.
Sounds like some very good advice. Well, thank you, Elyse, for coming on the show. I want to thank all you guys out there for listening as well. If you want to follow Elyse, she's on Instagram under the handle Elyse_Howard_. And I'm going to include a link to her massage center, Massage Nerd, at the bottom of the video. So, again, Elyse, thank you for joining us. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And for Elyse Howard, I am D. Lee, just reminding you that tight is right.